No One Left Behind is more than a standard we all live up to. It is a way of life. It is part of our mission. If you or someone you know finds themselves struggling with their mental health, please contact the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline by dialing 988 on your mobile phone or text 838-255 to speak or chat with a qualified counselor. Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Run for the Wall podcast. I am Hitch, and as always, I am joined with co-host Boots. And this week we have special guest Leo Rachmel.
Yeah, hi Leo, how you doing?
Hey, good, Boots and Hitch. It's great to be with you. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, we're so glad you're here. So, is it May yet?
Not quite.
It's getting there.
Yeah.
You know,
we are. It is February. This is our first February podcast, so we are making progress. We are moving right along.
You know, I have some great news, though. We are within 100 days of Kickstands Up. So today we're recording this on Wednesday. I think we're going to drop it today too.
Yes,
if we
will
can.
Upload it today.
I don't want to put too much pressure on you, Hitch. But
no.
As of today, we're 97 days from Kickstands Up, and that 96 for Midway, because Midway. Remember, everyone, Midway Route leaves on Tuesday the 13th. Then Southern and Central will leave on Wednesday, the 14th. So only 96 days until Midway is Kickstands Up. Can you believe that?
I don't know whether to be super excited or like nervous. Like, okay, what else do we have to do in order to prepare for this year's run? You know, it's like a little bit of both happening.
It's a good combination. Yeah, just trying to get ready and realizing, like, how did it get here so fast?
I know. It's crazy.
Well,
time just marches.
Yeah. If this is your first time tuning in to the Run for the Wall podcast, or you're just new to Run for the Wall as a whole, and you're like, well, what the heck is Run for the Wall? Well, we are the largest and oldest cross-country motorcycle run in support of veterans, prisoners of war, and those who made the ultimate sacrifice with their service and were KIA. And we're just here to make sure that no one is forgotten and that we continue to spread the word and live our mission.
Yeah, right on. That's right. So let's get into it. All right. I'm going to talk about some of our sponsors, because remember, there are so many moving parts in Run for the Wall. We could not do it without support of so many individuals and sponsors, but we have a couple of people who have gone above and over in terms of what they do for us. And one of those is Fuller Law, Chad Fuller. They provide legal counsel to Run for the Wall, and they're awesome. So if you or somebody you know has been in a motorcycle accident or a car accident and needs legal advice, please call 1-855-FULLER-LAW. That's FULLERLAW, or go to fullerlawforriders.com. Look them up, Fuller Law. Thanks, you guys. Chad. Then I also want to thank the Greater Ontario Convention and Visitors Bureau. Every year when we start in Ontario, they provide incredible hospitality for us, the riders and the supporters of Run for the Wall. Couldn't do it without you guys. Also, every episode we mention it. Mm-hmm. When you ride on Run for the Wall, one of the great things is the hydration trailers that follows each of the routes. Central Route, Midway Route, Southern Route, Sandbox Route, so that when we stop for fuel, we stop for lunch, the hydration trailer pulls up and they've got drinks, water, sodas, energy drinks, snacks, and those products are provided by PepsiCo and Coca-Cola. So remember, when you're out and about, those two companies are big supporters of Run for the Wall. We thank you guys very much. And so pick up a Pepsi or a Coke and support the people who support Run for the Wall and allow us to make it happen.
Absolutely. All right, so for announcements, as Boots already mentioned, kickstands go up Midway Route on the 13th of May, Central and Southern routes on Wednesday, May 14th, and Sandbox route Sunday, May 25th. Now, registration is currently open. Early bird, that's done.
Yep.
Correct. Yep, that's done. So, but registration is open. So if you're thinking about registering, go ahead, get registered. Um, if you know you're going and you're not registered yet, yes, let's get registered.
Yeah, sign up. Hey, I wanted to mention something. Midway Route, we talked about it, leaves on Tuesday the 13th. So I want to appeal to everybody who's going to be in Ontario who's riding on the Central Route and the Southern routes. Please come over to Lot D. You all know where Lot D is. That's where we have the all hands meeting, and that's where we leave from. But come over to Lot D on Tuesday morning and see the Midway Route off. Let's make sure that they feel the whole force of Run for the Wall as they're pulling out of that Lot D and heading down the road. I'd just like to see a whole lot more people out there supporting Midway.
I'll be there for sure.
So will I.
Remember, 4 routes, 1 mission.
That's right.
All right. What do we have? Who's still in need of volunteers? Boots, you have a list of.
I do. So first of all, I want to mention one of our board members is served his term, and he's going to be not renewing to come back on the board of directors, and that is for the position of treasurer. So we have that position open. I know that Bob, Captain America, will be serving. I think his term ends in August. So if you're interested in serving on the board of directors and helping us figure out the future of Run for the Wall and keep the run going every year, and you have maybe some skills in that area, let us know. You could use the contact form on the website, rftw.us, or you can just send some information or an inquiry into secretary at rftw.us. But we do need that role filled, and we're looking for someone who's been on the run at least once to step up and volunteer. Also, this is a big one. The Midway Route is looking for volunteers for a few positions. I spoke with Ed Brundage just before we started recording this, just to make sure I got it right. So Midway's looking for a photographer. You do not need to have any type of photographic experience. You can do it with a phone. But we really need a photographer to step up and take pictures. We also need a sit rep writer to write, reports and post them on the website. Again, you don't need any special skills to do that, but being able to write a little bit would help. We're looking for people for the promotions team. We've got some slots to fill to help, with the raffle rousing, as we call it. We're looking for a few for a medical team. If you've got some first aid experience or medical experience, you don't have to be a doctor or nurse. It's just somebody to serve in that position. And then also for the merchandise team, we still could use a couple volunteers there. But the big ones are the photographer and the sit rep writer and the promotions. Yep. So interested in that? Please use the Run for the Wall website under Midway Route. You can use the volunteer sign up button or contact Ed Brundage, Midway Route coordinator, and his email is ed.brundage@rftw.us.
Thanks, Boots.
Now, do you want to talk about Sandbox route? We had a note there. Oh, got it. I'll take it. You want me to take it?
Go for it.
Okay. So if you're riding on the Sandbox route and you're an FNG, that means a fun new guy or gal. It's your first time on the run, and you want to ride in the missing man formation, please let us know. And let's see, there's an email address here that I cannot read on my screen. But anyways,
I got
if you're interested, can you read it?
I can. It's AlanKFarmer@gmail.com. AlanKFarmer@gmail.com.
Yeah. So, and if you don't get that, just fill out the contact form on the Run for the Wall website. Let us know that you want to ride in missing man formation, and we'll do our best to make that happen.
Awesome. All right. hotel and camping lists. They're posted. If you have not already made your reservations, let's get to it. Make those reservations, especially if you're already registered. The route booklets. We're still looking at March.
Yep.
Okay, so we still have another month to go before the route booklets become available, but you should be able to access previous years at Run for the Wall's website.
Yeah, and just so you know, if let's just say you're on the Southern Route and you wanted to take a look at the itinerary book from last year, go to the Southern Route Hub, scroll to the bottom of the page, and there's an archive copy of last year's route itinerary booklet. You can kind of use that as a reference. There's going to be some minor changes. I know there's some changes on Central and there's some changes here and there on some of the other routes.
Well, all of them should be changed at the end.
Well, definitely. But use it. You can use it as a reference. But the actual route itinerary booklets for 2025, probably mid to end of March, I would imagine.
Okay. And then the same with prepaid fuel. I know you mentioned that you've
prepaid
been
what?
Prepaid fuel. It's
okay.
Not
listen up, everybody.
Yet,
right?
I know you said that you've been getting a lot of questions and emails like, "Hey, prepaid fuel. Where do I send my money? Is it open yet? Is it?" And I'm like, "Okay, they're not getting our message because we mention it every episode."
So, what is prepaid fuel?
Will be out in March.
What's prepaid fuel? Let's just talk about that for a second.
Okay.
And that can be our customs and traditions, right? Because I didn't write anything down. So let's just talk about fuel on Run for the Wall just for a second, okay?
Okay.
So most of your fuel and most of your food while you're on Run for the Wall as a participant is provided through the donations and generosity of many of the people who support Run for the Wall. Not all of the fuel, but most of it. So what we do is, like when you pull into a gas station, the fuel team will line you up side by side at the pumps, and for the fuel stops that are sponsored, you don't pay any money. You fuel up free of charge, and that's most of the stops. And we try to get all of them, but we can't always. So for the ones, and we don't know until usually April, but for the fuel stops that aren't covered, what we offer per route is a prepaid fuel sticker that you put on your bike. That means for the fuel stops that aren't sponsored, when you pull up, instead of trying to fish cash out of your jacket and hand the cash over to the fuel team that's manning the pump, you cannot pay with a card. It's got to be cash. Instead of doing that, you buy a prepaid fuel sticker, which is usually around $100 or so. It varies by route because each route has different donations, different distances, different number of people on the route. Usually last year, I think on Central Route was about $90. Midway, what was it, Leo? About $100?
Yeah, it was just over 100. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, but it's a great thing to do because then your fuel is all paid for. You don't have to fumble with your cash. You just pull up, fill up, and then go off into the staging area. So prepaid fuel more information will be available. I would say probably late March, early April. But normally those stickers are sold in Ontario or wherever you join the run. Just mention when you're checking in at the registration check-in that you want prepaid fuel sticker, and they'll take care of you.
Okay.
Right on.
Awesome. So that brings us to local meetups. I know as the time is getting closer, some people may want to start reconnecting, finding out who's leaving when from your prospective areas so you can ride out together, or just getting back into the swing of all things Run for the Wall. So
yeah, and what's really cool is I've noticed that some meetups are popping up in places where we haven't had them before. So I know there's meetups in Arizona, Colorado, California, Washington, D.C., Maryland area. If you want to have a meetup, go on the Run for the Wall forum at forum.rftw.us. You can check out where the local meetups are in your area. And if there isn't one, start one. I'll help you.
Say also in the forum, if you're looking to share rooms with anyone, people are posting in the forums. They're looking, on their routes, like, hey, anyone looking to share a room? So if that's something you're interested in, you can find that information on the forum as well.
Right. Plus runs to the run. So if you live, in Texas and you want to ride with other people out to California to start the run in Ontario, you can locate other riders who are interested in riding together out or back. There's runs back from once we end in DC or in Marseilles, Illinois.
True.
You can hook up with other riders and ride back to wherever you're from. So that's a good way to do it on the forum.
And last but not least, in news and updates, route communications.
Yeah. Are we still using CBs, Leo?
We are not.
What are we using?
No. We're moving to the GMRS radio for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just on a group text with my road guards talking about, how we're going to do that, and that we're talking about the technicalities of it, how to mount them, how to get them interacting with your helmet. There's a lot of testing and procedures that need to go into this to make it work.
What are some of the things that you all are bringing up or that you're noticing is like a common question or common trend?
The biggest problem we're having right now is if people don't have a Bluetooth headset, they're having some problems getting connected to those radios.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them, the solution is just getting a Bluetooth headset. It's kind of just time to go wireless, I think.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've had the same experience just helping some riders get their GMRS Pros connected. But I have noticed that with both the Senna and the Cardo units, it's pretty seamless. It's very easy. It takes less than a minute to get connected.
Oh.
Yeah, using those instructions that Pretty Boy put on the forum, it's pretty simple. That's the procedure to do it. And once you do that, I've done a little bit of testing here, but we haven't even gotten on the road yet to get out there and talk to each other and test range and make sure we can talk on the phone while we're, because some positions you have to talk on the phone just to make some final coordinations up forward, right? So you're receiving those calls, you're still trying to maintain comms throughout the route and just make sure everything works smoothly.
Yeah. I will say this, because I noticed, I think it was on the forum, I noticed some of the guys put the extra long antenna on their GMRS Pro. Last year I ran the stock standard antenna. I did upgrade to a Nagoya to it's about that big. For people who are listening, it's probably about 8 inches long or so. But you don't need the 2-foot antenna. I was communicating up to 15 miles with just the standard stock antenna.
Yeah.
So there you go.
That's what we're looking forward to. Be able to at least talk from front to rear, talk from where I sit up way up front of Midway all the way back to the rear guard back there and just have clear communications. Rear guard used to have to call the RC on the phone and tell him he was on the slab because it was too far for the CB to transmit. Yep. I don't know if other routes did that, but it was just part of our procedure.
Yeah, I think that's happened too. And then we also did the relay thing where you relay from platoon all the way back and then all the way forward. And boy, is that a pain.
Yeah, that can tie up the radio a little bit for sure.
Yeah. It's like playing that long distance telephone game.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the longest game of telephone ever. The worst part is, in my mind, by the time the RC gets the message back, whatever he was trying to convey, whatever they were trying to convey, is probably changed by the time it gets back there.
Yeah, it's going to lose something in the translation.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, man. All right. So was there anything else that you noticed that people were bringing up about the radio since you all have already been having those conversations?
I've been wondering, and we're seeing it a little bit with that Bluetooth push to talk button. I'm not sure if that's interfering with the Bluetooth comms between the headset and the radio, or maybe the Bluetooth from your headset to something else, some other device you might have. I know it shut off the Bluetooth from my keyboard. If I do it here at my desk, I can't use my Bluetooth keyboard and mouse if I'm using the Bluetooth push to talk. And then it'll come back.
I haven't experienced any interference with my push to talk button, but I will say this. I have been playing around with different mounts, and currently I'm using a Rockform mount, a telephone mount that I modified, and I made a bracket that screws into the back of my VTech Pro, GMRS Pro, and then that clips in like a quad lock onto that rock form mount, and it's so close to my left hand, I don't need the push to talk button. I can just reach up and key the mic.
Oh, that's a great idea.
And it actually activates it in my headset.
Yeah, that's a great idea. If we can get that mount set up like that.
I'll take a picture of it. My big Harley's actually sitting on the dyno right now down that I did a whole bunch of new stuff. I'm not going to get into that. That's a whole other topic. Cams and headwork and stuff. But
nice.
I'm kind of crazy like that. But I'll take a picture of it because I have to go down to the dealership today, and I'll post that on the forum so that people can see how I'm mounting that and how that it's just such close proximity to my left thumb. It could just reach up and hit that button. Anyways, yeah.
Well, that's a great idea. Yeah, I'm going to look into that. I look forward to seeing those pictures.
All right, so moving on.
Why we ride.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen and put this up. Hang on a second. Okay. I got to say, this is one of the most difficult things to do on this podcast. Today, we remember Jerry Michael Weaver of Niles, Michigan. Jerry was born on January 4th, 1946. He served as a staff sergeant in the U.S. Army, 5th Special Forces Group, Airborne. On 16 July 1970, in the Quang-Duc province, while on patrol making rounds of the perimeter, Jerry was shot and killed by fire from a sleepy CIDG, which stands for Civilian Irregular Defense Group. The Civilian Irregular Defense Group, or CIDG, was a military program during the Vietnam War that trained and armed ethnic minority villagers to fight against the Viet Cong. Jerry's death is an unfortunate example of non-hostile fire that took the life of a service member, lest we not forget the incredible danger these men and women endure in their line of duty. Jerry was 24 years old at the time of his death. His name can be found on the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall in Washington, D.C., on panel 8W, line 24. Jerry is buried at Mission Hills Memorial Gardens in Niles, Michigan. It is not the worst thing to die in war. It is not the worst thing to be missing in war. The worst thing is to be forgotten in war. Say their names, tell their stories, never forget. Staff Sergeant Jerry Michael Weaver, you are not forgotten. Your memory and sacrifice on behalf of our beloved country lives on in our thoughts and in our hearts. You will always be remembered whenever we stand and sing the words, land of the free and home of the brave. And I just wanted to mention this one. Jerry's memory was suggested to me by my good friend Larry Gleason. He's local here in Prescott. He's been on the Run for the Wall many times. He'll be going this year again. He got a new trike. And he's one of the old coots. You see that here on my,
there you go,
right there. he's one of the guys I meet with and have cigars here in Prescott with. So thank you, Larry, for bringing that up. And I'll have Jerry's bio with me on the run this year, along with all the others that we've read on the podcast.
Thanks, Boots. So, did you want to jump back to customs and traditions, and talk
I don't really have a good custom and tradition. What did we talk about earlier?
You were talking about the fuel.
Oh yeah,
the prepaid fuel. Yeah, but okay. So this would be a good point to jump into the road guards as, like, I mean, it's a tradition, it's a custom, is a very vital part of the run, and that is one of the reasons that we have Leo here with us today. So, I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand. You ready to talk about being a road guard? You ready to talk about being a road guard?
So, Leo, tell us what are the road guards? What do they do?
I'm pretty sure Gunny had road guards back in '89 when he did the first run, because it's hard to move a group of motorcycles cross country without somebody and at least flagging the way, holding traffic for a couple of minutes while you get through, just to keep us safe, right? Just to help us facilitate that movement on forward. So every route has them. We all operate pretty similarly, slight differences between the routes, but our main overarching goal is to facilitate the safe passage of the route from point A to point B. Which may not be the most important part of Run for the Wall. Getting there is one thing, but being there on the ground, that's the important part. So we just help make that happen. So the riders and the teams that get out there and talk to people on the ground, and that includes us too. As soon as we stop, we get to participate. But getting everybody there to make that happen, that's the mission, and that's what we're all about. We sort of have two missions, to get you there, and then to participate in the actual Run for the Wall mission.
So how did you initially get introduced to Run for the Wall itself?
Oh yeah, it was a pretty similar story to a lot of people. I was just riding out here in Las Vegas, got bored, bought a motorcycle. And I was riding with a group, and they said, you ever heard of Run for the Wall? This is something you might like. And they said, there's a PGR guy who does Run for the Wall. You should go ride with them. So I joined the PGR here.
What's PGR?
Met Pelican.
Patriot Guard Riders.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Pelican rode with both groups, and he told me about Run for the Wall. He got me interested. He sort of mentored me that first year. And I didn't know a lot. We talk a little bit, but I checked the website. I'd read all the forums back then and just understand, I know how to pack for a cross-country trip. So I just loaded up my little Vulcan 900 and rode down to Ontario. Didn't know what to expect. As soon as I got into the hotel area, I was like, this is unreal.
What year was that?
I've never seen it like this. 2015.
2015, okay.
Yeah, I was texting friends. I was jumping for joy. I think I posted as we left on Facebook. I was literally jumping for joy seeing the staging there in Lot D.
Now you said, go ahead. Seeing the staging in Lot D, go ahead.
Just being part of, everybody talks about being part of something bigger than yourself, and that was, it really struck me that year. And after that, like everybody says, I was hooked and I was coming back. So I made plans and came back the next year.
Now you said that the guys were telling you I'm pretty sure you'd be interested in this Run for the Wall thing. What made them say that? What's your background?
Oh, I retired from the Army back in 2008. I was in Army military police.
Okay.
So I did a lot of convoy escorts. So I like seeing big groups of vehicles or, motorcycles, especially moving across the country, just moving through space. So I think that, and just the fact that I expressed a desire, I'd love to ride across country one day. And, they knew that,
okay.
Being a Sandbox vet, 3 combat tours in Iraq. So, and I've got people on that wall, so when we can talk about that later, but when that came to fruition, that was right up my alley as well.
Yeah,
so,
because in addition to being a road guard, you're also Sandbox ARC.
I am.
Correct.
Cobb honored me this year, asked me to be his ARC. We talked about it, can I do both jobs? There's no real conflict of interest there. So, I just kind of have to manage both roles.
Okay.
Two outstanding RCs that I advise in slightly different capacities.
Got you. Go ahead, Boots.
Yeah.
Let me take a look. So tell us about who you ride for.
I ride for my mom's cousin, PFC Patrick Hall. He was drafted into the Army, spent about 23 days in country, and was involved in an ambush. It was just a nasty ambush where most of them were killed in action right there. And he was badly burned. He spent a few days in the hospital, and he died New Year's Day of the next year, 1968.
Wow.
So she always talked about him. I always thought about him, what would have been like to have met him. His life was just cut short too quickly. And, we ride for those who can't. I like to think he probably would have ridden with me. I was a year old when he was killed, but I would have loved to have met him. So I ride with him. I carry his bio. I wrote his bio. I did all the research, talked to my mom, got as much info as I could, and I wrote his bio. I found just 2 pictures that are still out there, and I used one of them. He's just in a nightclub with his sister, and I think his another girl, and wearing a suit. just posing for the camera. So he seemed like an amazing guy, and I'm really honored to ride for him. I feel like he's with me when I got a chance to ride Missing Man as an FNG, and then I get a chance to ride it the second year as a staging member because they I guess we ran out of FNGs, so they said you're close enough. So they asked me if I'd ride that as well.
You know what, Leo? If you send me that bio, I'll read it on the next podcast.
Okay, I'll send it to you, Ted.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'd like to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. So 2015 was your FNG year. Have you been on the run every year since then?
Every year since then, all the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then when did you start taking on different positions, and what positions have you had?
You know, when I came back my second year, I was actually planning to ride Central or Southern. That was my plan, and I couldn't decide which. But I pulled in the parking lot, saw some guys I had met, some tail gunners. You know, my tail gunner from my FNG year, and he said, "What route are you riding?" I said, "I don't know, maybe Southern or Central." And he said, "Absolutely not. You're riding Midway."
Wait, so you made it all the way to Ontario and still had no clue which route you were going to do?
I wasn't sure. I was going to figure it out at registration, I think.
Wow.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Because
I was torn.
You have to pack very differently, I feel like.
Slightly, yeah. I mean, I pack for cold weather regardless, and you're always ready for hot weather.
Okay. Fair enough.
So, yeah.
So
they both had extreme benefits. You know, I looked at them both. I'd still love to ride one of them someday, but I'm pretty locked into Midway and then Sandbox for the next couple of years.
Yeah, I mean,
few years.
Like Run for the Wall is a family.
Yeah.
But I guess when it comes to your route, you know, it's like your family of origin. You know what I mean? Like, you know, not just cousins and mom, but like like those are your people. So I get it.
It really is. Yeah. You establish traditions, and you get used to seeing each other across the route and spending time with each other. I remember last year when we were here, I remember 5 years ago, we in Cookeville, we take a picture with the same lady there at dinner. Two of the other riders on Midway and myself. We did it in probably 2018, and then we've done it every year since. So we all have copies of that picture and the different year progressions of you know, just seeing each other, and it's just a brief interaction. You know, how are you? It's just great to see. There's a lot of people in Cookeville. You can't just focus on one person. There's so many people that you look forward to seeing every year. And that's not just there. That's all the stops, and that's just the magic of the run, I think. All right, you'll have it on your route.
Every route, yeah. So in 2016, did you start when you were snatched up? Like, no way, you're coming to Midway. Were you given a job that year?
You know,
they put you
I was
to work?
just going to ride in the pack. Yeah, I got to registration. The staging team leader was sitting there, and he said, "Are you an FNG?" And I said, "No." And he said, "You want to ride staging?" And I said, "Yeah." So he said, "Here's your blue hat. There's a meeting at 2. See you there." So I was so happy to have a blue hat. You know, I was part of a team, and
oh my gosh, that is awesome. Look, that's the way to recruit. Who was that?
That was Bob Graham. His road name was Crackers, and it's not because of graham crackers. His road name is Crackers because he was standing a point somewhere back in the past, and it was such a sort of shady spot where he may have. It was bold, I guess, a bold action on his part, and somebody went by and said, "That guy is Crackers." That's how he got his road name.
Oh man! All right. Boots.
So, I kind of wanted to circle back to, so you rode in the pack, you rode in staging, and we know you're a road guard now. Have you held any other positions?
No, that was it. The next year, I asked Six String if I could be a road guard, and he told me to get comms up on my bike and make sure I had 4-way flashers. So I had to actually trade that little Vulcan in, and I traded up to a slightly bigger Vulcan. You know, put the auxiliary lights on it, got my comms up, and came back, and I was a first-year road guard that year, 2017.
Okay. And then how long have you been road guard captain?
2023. So this will be my 3rd year.
Got it. Cool.
Yeah.
Very good. And then I'm just going to take the next question.
Go for it.
So how do you prepare yourself for Run for the Wall, both physically and emotionally?
Oh, you know, physically, that's pretty cut and dry. You know, just find a way to stretch to get yourself, you know, in some kind of decent shape. Walking, I really think riding a motorcycle is the best way to get in shape for riding a motorcycle. So
yeah.
luckily I've got 365-day riding out here, so I can get out and ride. I've got a little bit of tread left on my tires, so I'm hoping to get all that burned off and get some new tires by May, and just get in that good a shape physically. Stay hydrated. We talk about hydration a lot, right? And prehydration is a thing, as we know. So you start hydrating, weeks in advance, and get used to that, right? That amount of intake of water, get out and ride. Do some dress rehearsals, right? I'll just pack everything up just like I'm going on the run and go out and spend a day out on the road and just, get used to how I get to my stuff, how I find certain things if I need them, how I charge certain things if I need to charge something, and then come back home and unpack and just, you feel a lot more prepared if you do that.
Yeah, that's a good advice.
That's
right
a good
there.
tip.
Thank you. And emotionally, I don't know if it's even possible, right? You just have to kind of prepare yourself, steel yourself, know what's going to happen, understand maybe how you mitigate. Just certain stops will have certain effects on certain people. And luckily, right now, the end of the route is where we have the most emotional effect on our riders, right? I understood, but I didn't fully understand the reaction, the emotional impact the Vietnam Veterans Wall has on the Vietnam veterans until we started riding to Marcellus. And then I realized, I've got several people on that wall, and the closer we got, the harder it hit me. And it was, I don't think I actually went to the wall the first year. I just didn't have the courage, the stamina. It was just too much. So it took some time. It's still a highly emotional event, but you have to put that aside. Certain, everybody, leaders, riders, you have to be able to do what you got to do. It's just stay in formation, set the pace, hold intersections, whatever it is. You got to be able to do that. So getting yourself sort of steeled for and anticipating it, I think, is the best way to emotionally prepare.
Yep.
So I know you talked about Cookeville a little bit and what that means to you, but are there any other experiences that really jump out to you from your time on Run for the Wall, or do you have a favorite stop?
Cookeville has to be the favorite just because, my F&G year, we came through there. It was the second year we'd ever come to Cookeville. And it was raining, just cats and dogs. We were all miserable. And when you get off the interstate and start riding in the town was lined with people, umbrellas, ponchos, kids, pickup trucks in parking lots, U.S. flags waving, and people were cheering. It just
in the rain.
In the rain.
Yeah,
it was raining. I was warm. I felt warm inside. I felt welcomed and comforted, and it meant a lot. And
that's amazing.
Now we get the 2 days there, so we get an additional outreach opportunities. We go on that second day and we go out to 3 different locations, and we get to reach a lot of people. One of them is a veterans home. We've only done it 2 years, so I've done that both years. I split the road guards up, the leadership, the route leadership splits up as well, and they go 3 different directions. At the veterans home in Murfreesboro, I can talk about it. It's an significant emotional event in getting there. Talking to those veterans. I think you visited veterans homes. A lot of our riders have.
Yeah.
That's a tough event. You have to be strong to get through that. And then you have to be the, I don't know. It's, from there, just getting back on your bike and getting back to where you need to be. It's tough.
It is.
And the other outreaches go to a veterans cemetery, and then they go to a veterans museum, right? And then they have they bring veterans out to talk to them, and it's basically just an outreach mission, and that's what we call it. Every once in a while on that 7th day, we've got people who just need maintenance on their bike, and rather than miss a day, they get a chance to go do that and knock that out.
Yeah, and it's an important point to make that unlike the other routes, Midway they start on Tuesday, so they take 11 days to cross, and that seventh day, like Leo said, it's a rest day. It's an outreach day or a rest day. It's the rider's choice. But that's kind of an interesting thing that none of the other routes do presently. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, thank you. It's a slightly shorter day as well. So even when you do the outreach, and everybody just picks one of the 3 outreaches to do, we kickstands up at 10. I think we're back by 2 or 3, and then we have dinner again down at the town hall, and they put on a second dinner for us and a second presentation. We see Gold Star families. The law enforcement there is amazing. They attend those evening dinners. They come out and they participate. We've talked to them personally. Some of those officers, I think Run for the Wall has provided healing for them just in their personal lives. And I don't know of any other stops that really happens. We interact with the law enforcement officers, but it's usually just a professional interaction. But seeing it in Cookeville and seeing those guys like really embrace us and become family to us has just been really special over the years.
That's great. Really great. So I have to ask, what's the best meal you've had on Run for the Wall?
I think anybody on Midway might tell you that in Siler City, North Carolina, the church there puts on a ribeye lunch. Right.
Now
so they're
talking.
Grilling ribeyes. They're making homemade peach cobbler and then homemade ice cream for dessert, and that's one of our favorites. Our favorite.
I feel like someone else
for lunch.
Those are my 3 favorite
that
food
homemade ice cream.
I think so. Yeah, that's
right.
It's the one. And all the meals are great on Midway for sure across the country, but that's the one that really stands out because it's a lunch. You're not really expecting a big ribeye for lunch.
Okay, so Leo, you got me interested here. You got my 3 favorite food groups: ribeye, peach cobbler, and ice cream.
Yep.
So if I come ride Midway Route, can I be a road guard?
You absolutely can.
I knew it was going to come to this. I knew it. Yeah. See, what did I tell you before we started recording? I was like, I'm going to end up in my feelings because Boots just loves being a road guard so much. See, and now we're going to end up doing Midway. He's going to ditch me and leave me behind.
No. I'm going to end up doing the gunny route. I want to ride all the routes. I want to check it all out. No, not the same year. Not like that.
The gunny route is riding them all the same year.
Well, maybe somewhere in the future. I don't know. But I got to tell you, road guarding, it's a lot of work and it's hard. Right, Leo?
It is.
Yeah, I told him, I was like, that's not my... He was like, well, you can be a road guard too. No, sir. That's
Well, and for all the riders who are out there, I mean, the road guards are a special group. And some of the best riders I've ever ridden with in all of the motorcycling I've done, dirt bike racing, road racing, flat track racing, supermoto, road guards have special skills. And also, the hard part of road guarding is where you're just working the whole day long. And sometimes you're stopping cars on an on-ramp or at an intersection so the pack can go through. And you don't get a good reaction from the public. You know what I'm talking about, Leo, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's hard.
I think it's a calling. I know you've asked road guards, or I've heard the story so much that you saw a road guard go by. And my story is like my first year, my F&G year, probably the first time I saw a road guard go by, I said, that's what I want to do. And I knew it was my calling. Yeah. And some people say absolutely not. I would never do that. I think,
yeah, but you said one of the things you mentioned was like the skills can be taught, or like you can be taught.
That's the thing, right? If it's your calling, we can make you a better rider. Absolutely. I've seen a lot of my road guards were not the best riders when they first started this. Run for the Wall itself makes you a better rider.
Oh yeah.
Just riding in formation, the skills you have to possess to stay in that formation day after day after day. You'll be the best rider that you are for the whole year right when you finish Run for the Wall.
Right.
And then the rest of the skills can be taught. It's a willingness to go out there. You've got to have great situational awareness. You've got to be able to make split decisions, stopping traffic. because we try not to do traffic control. What we try to do is use law enforcement to do that portion of it, but we always flag the route, right? So if we're flagging the RC or we're flagging the road guard captain to make a turn, they're going to have to hold traffic there as well.
Yep.
Right. But that's pretty much 99% of the things that we do is just flag for the pack.
Gotcha.
And then hold traffic where we need to let them flow through.
Yeah.
That's a good explanation of it. Okay, so we have Boots, we have Hitch, and then we have Leo, no road name, Rachmel.
That's how it's been over the years. They just never seem to stick, and I don't know why. But I don't think anything's really stood out that much. I can tell you, I shouldn't tell you.
No, now you have to.
Well, no, because like at the beginning, I was like, "What's your road name?" so that I could put it in, and he's like, "Leo," and I was like, "Well, how?" He was like, "I was a law enforcement officer." I'm like, "No, absolutely."
Yeah. It fit really well for the 2 or 3 years I was the Leo liaison for Midway and then for Sandbox for the inaugural route, and I helped out during the recon as well. So as the Leo liaison, it was kind of just easy. They just called me Leo, and then that just kind of stuck. I had a couple of road names in the past that just sort of just faded away for some reason. I don't know.
All right, we'll let it slide for now, but I'm going to work with Ed Brundage on this, and we may have to change it.
I appreciate it.
Okay, so you said you were riding a Vulcan, a Kawasaki, right?
Yes.
What are you riding now?
A slightly upgraded version of it, but it's the same Vulcan. It's the Kawasaki 1700. It's the Vaquero or the Voyager. The Voyager has the tour pack, a little bit better saddlebags. I got that back in 22, and I've been riding it ever since. But I rode that original Vaquero. I put a total of 157,000 miles on that bike.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was flawless. I changed the oil every 5,000 and got the air filter clean and changed tires. That was it.
Dang, that's a lot of miles on a bike.
Yeah, it was pretty solid. I traded it in for this one, and I'm sitting right around 60-some thousand on it now. So it'll last me a few more runs. I had clutch problems with it last year, and I wound up on the chase truck for the last few days. Fortunate enough, when I had those problems, I had a couple of riders who were willing to say, "Hey, I'll ride in the chase truck, and you ride my bike."
Aww.
And yeah. So that was amazing. I kind of traded bikes off there at the last few days of Midway last year.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did you get your clutch fixed?
I did. Yeah, I got it fixed back in DC, rode it home. It's been really flawless ever since.
Good.
So yeah.
See, he didn't have an extra one with him.
Yeah.
It's blue. Bright blue. Say again, Hitch?
Nothing.
Oh.
We're talking clutch plates, not clutch lever, Hitch.
We are. Yeah. And I actually used a mechanic from Post 176 there in Springfield. He's one of the Legion riders, and he has a little home shop right around the corner, sort of. So we talked about it, and he said, "Yeah, I get you the parts." I helped him out, kind of helped him do some of the work there, so I was able to participate in that process. Got a lot done a lot cheaper than it would have been at the dealership.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just had my bike apart.
Okay.
Well, I always have my bike apart, but I had the primary off, and I was looking at the clutch discs, the clutch plates, and I'm like, yeah, they're about half worn, so I threw them away. I just put all brand new clutch plates in because I had it apart. But
it's well worth it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'd rather do that than have my clutch fail on Run for the Wall.
Absolutely. Yeah. I can tell you, it's not fun.
All right. So, advice for FNGs.
Yeah. I like to tell FNGs, just get ready for some long days, some fairly late evenings sometimes, right? Just get mentally prepared for that. It's just 10 or 11 days on the run. So embrace all of it, right? You shouldn't be looking to, I want to get out of here as quick as I can and get back to the hotel, but just embrace and enjoy every little bit of it. Be prepared for that. I tell you, work on your riding skills because it's not easy riding in that formation, regardless of what team you ride in or what platoon or where it is. right? It takes a lot of skill. It takes a lot of concentration. And it's a testament to the fact that we actually we focus on that and we take a lot of it to heart, because, we've been lucky on being pretty incident free,
Yes.
keeping the route safe.
Yes.
Right. And that's just a testament to how serious the riders take that.
Yeah. Midway's got a great safety record, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Our riders, they really take it to heart, and they practice and they work on it. And, we've been fortunate. We've been happy with it.
Yeah. So do you have any tips for just general riders aside from your advice for FNGs?
Pack lighter than you think. I think so much of it is out there, but there's Walmarts along the way. So if you forget something, don't worry about it. And you definitely need less than you think you do. Yeah.
And hotels have washers and dryers.
Yeah.
Or you can hand wash things and hang them.
You can,
so it's
absolutely. I've done all that.
All right, so plans for this year, we are Road Guard Captain Midway, ARC on Sandbox. Anything else? Other plans for 2025?
Oh, that's about it, really. I got a new granddaughter. She'll be a year old in March, so I'm really enjoying spending time with her. In fact, I'll be picking her up here in a couple hours to babysit her for the day.
That is
that's
cool.
Great.
Yeah.
So a plan for 2025, Cookeville, you know how you all split up on the second day? Have you been to all of them, or where do you usually go?
I've only been to the Murfreesboro VA home twice now, because the first year, each one of those was hard. The first year you do it, it's hard to get it all right. So we learned a lot of lessons, and we wanted to keep everybody in position that second year. And then people have grown attached to each one of those outreaches. So I don't think I could pry my assistant road guard captain off of the Sunbright outreach with a crowbar. So we'll probably just stick with what we've got and then just keep getting better at it if we can.
Got you. Is there anything else that you can think of that you would want to share with listeners, any or all listeners, while we have you, while you have their undivided attention?
I just say, just get ready, because it's coming, and it'll be here quick before we know it. It'll be here quickly, and I think we'll just all be ready to knock this out and make this a successful year. Really looking forward to it. We can all
jump for joy together in Lot D.
Yes.
That was the cutest thing. You said that about your FNG year.
Thank you.
But okay, so that brings us to our tech tips with Ted.
Yes, tech tips. Okay, I got a couple short ones today. One, I wanted to talk about flag placement, because I see a lot of riders, and we all like to have Old Glory on our vests, on our bikes, on the back, mounted on the tour packs or on the back of the bike. And I've seen lately flags not placed properly. Even, I hate to say it, on one of our local police forces here in the Prescott, Arizona area, it was Prescott Valley PD. I told him, you need to talk to your chief, because that flag's on the wrong side of your uniform. The flag should go on the left, and it should face as though the stripes are waving in the breeze. So the blue field should be closest to your heart, and the flag should be on the left, facing that way. And nothing should ever be above the flag. My vest is hanging up over here, but I'm not going to grab it right now. If you have any questions on that, give me a call, or email me through the website. But that's really important, that nothing's above the flag. Now, on the back of the bike, I've seen lots of riders get this wrong. If you just have one flag and it's the American flag, it can go anywhere. If you have two flags, the American flag always goes on the right as you're looking at the back of the bike. So it should be on the throttle side, okay? If you have the POW MIA or a state flag or any other flag, that goes on the left, okay? That's for two flags. If you have three flags, it's different yet again. The American flag goes in the middle and must be higher by about 2 inches than the other two flags. It doesn't matter what flags they're ordered in, but the American flag needs to be in the center. So most riders, and I have two flags. I have the POW MIA flag on the left, and I have the American flag on the right. Make sure that American flag is on the right. That's flag placement. The next one, and this is almost a letter because I got asked this from the website, has to do with music on the run.
Okay.
And the rider said, can I listen to music? And so I wrote out my answer, so I'm just going to use this so I don't miss anything. So while you're riding in the pack, we request on pretty much all routes that you do not play music through your speakers. This can be distracting for other riders. And if you want to listen to music through your headset, that's okay. But remember, when you're writing information, just like Leo said, it takes a tremendous amount of concentration. And you want all of your focus and all of your attention to be on staying in formation, avoiding obstacles, maintaining that distance in front of the bike in front of you, or between the bike in front of you. Mm-hmm. And the music can be distracting. So it's best to leave it off while you're riding in the pack. But this, again, is up to the individual. So just be aware. If you're stopped at a gas stop or lunch break, you can play music through your speakers. But remember, not everyone may share your taste in music. So it might be best to have a little bit of situational awareness there and make sure that those around you are enjoying your music as much as you are. Now, if somebody, especially a road guard, asks you to turn it down or turn it off, it's probably best to comply. Now, this is a big, big, big thing here. When we get to DC, there's a contingent of riders, usually FNGs, who are allowed to ride their bikes into Arlington National Cemetery. Arlington is a completely different matter. We are expressly forbidden to have any form of music, period. Arlington National Cemetery is hallowed ground, and we must operate in a manner that demonstrates the highest possible respect for the fallen. That means no music, no loud voices, no chanting, no revving engines or rapping your pipes. As much as we love the sound of our motorcycles, when we're riding into Arlington, that is not the time and place to do that. Okay? Riding into ANC is a privilege, and we want to ensure that future Run for the Wall riders can experience this amazing event. So,
and Boots, I just want to add that going to Arlington National Cemetery, because I used to live about a mile from it, and when people would come visit, I would go a lot. And if you've never been, or even if Run for the Wall is the only time you've been to Arlington National Cemetery, you may not notice, but people aren't even allowed to drive cars into the cemetery. You have to have a very special pass. You have to be visiting a specific grave site, like of a family member, and you have to be like in a wheelchair or unable to take that hike. And then you have to like literally go in, state your case, tell them exactly who you're going to see in the cemetery, and get a special permit in order to drive in there. So when he says that this is a privilege, it's a privilege, and it's one that a relationship that we want to be able to maintain for our FNGs.
Yeah, it is such a special experience. I did it my FNG year when Kelly came, my wife, Kelly, was on the back of the bike. And then the next year...
Don't do that. Don't do that.
You were on the back of my bike.
Don't do that.
So I got to ride in twice. But I wouldn't have been able to go that second year if you hadn't been with me, because you were the FNG. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Okay, I got two other announcements that I wanted to touch on before we go. Okay? All right. So I have these trifold brochures on Run for the Wall, and I've sent
You're covering your mouth.
Out. Sorry. I have these trifold brochures. I sent a bunch out to all points of the United States. So
I got mine. Thank you.
I still have quite a few left. I've got another box right here. So if you want some of these, please let me know. Just send it to pod@rftw.us. I'll send you some. You can take them to your motorcycle dealership, VFWs, American Legion, Elks Club, wherever. Let's post them. Let's get our ridership up. And then also, I just got this yesterday from Alan. Alan came up and we met for lunch. This is the new Run for the Wall challenge coin for the 35th annual Run for the Wall. It looks so good. I got a whole bunch of them. I bought a box.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so check these out. They're on the website. And you know what? It says right on the back, it's not the worst thing to die in war. It's not the worst thing to be missing in war. The worst thing is to be forgotten in war. Say their names, tell their stories, never forget. Right there on the back with the POW symbol. I love this. I think it's the best challenge coin I've ever seen. Love it. But you can get those on the website. All right, Leo, what else do you got? Anything to add before we close?
No, I think in closing out, I would just ask people to remember the Road Guards are a humble group. They're just trying to do their job, and sometimes that might come across as harsh or being mean, and sometimes they're actually raising their voice just to get that voice above the sound of motorcycles. But I guarantee you, it's nothing personal. They're not trying to flex power on you or anything like that. They're just trying to make sure that if you have an issue that you're able to understand that, and they're just trying to make a correction, right? So please don't take offense at what they say or how they say it, and just understand that they're there just to support the mission, and we're just there, just like everybody else.
We're all on the same team.
Healing, yes, sir. Yep.
Yeah.
So thank y'all. Thank you so much for having me. That was really fun.
Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
All right. So for more information on Run for the Wall, please visit the official Run for the Wall website at rftw.us. And if you want to stay in the know, go to forum.rftw.us. And that's where you can interact with other riders and find other people to ride with or room with or local meetups and all of the fun stuff that's going on with Run for the Wall off season.
That's right. And don't forget to send us your experiences, any topics you'd like to hear, any suggestions for us, because we really look forward to having you all on the podcast and sharing this information. And if you're interested in being on the podcast, send it to us. Let us know. Seriously, you don't have to. I know everyone up to this point has held a position of some type, but you can be on the podcast. Come join us and just share your experiences. Sit with us. We're a fun bunch. Don't you see?
Yeah.
No. I agree with that. FNG stories are great. If you read the FNG stories on the website, some of them are really good, and everybody's got a story. We'd love to hear it.
So send it to us at pod@rftw.us.
Yeah.
So until next time, how far are we going?
All the way. Thanks, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.
Thank y'all. Bye.